If you don't own Tesla stock directly, you might still be able to vote. For example, State Street now allows index equity fund investors to vote proxies. You need to contact them if you have these to get your voting rights, though. And AJ sees a lot of pessimism around the Tesla vote on Elon's compensation package. Consider that the vote would still go through if the following happened. 62% of institutionals participating against. Tesla manages to mobilize only 20% of retail money and only 80% of whom vote for. Employees participate at 60%, but for 95% vote for. I don't know if 95% of the employees would vote for. I think majority will vote for, but I don't know. If I was working at a company and if I didn't really have much stock, and if I saw a lot of my friends just being laid off, and at the same time the CEO is asking for tens of billions of dollars, of course it's for work that has already been done, and we can see the results in the stock market, and the results are great. But human nature, it's an interesting thing. Many people, I think, would interpret what Elon Musk is asking for, well, you're saving costs, but you want to get paid a lot of money at the same time. I think that's how a lot of people will see it. I don't think it's the right way to see it. I think it's unfair to see it that way because work has already been done, results have already been generated. I think it's unfair to not give Elon the money that he earned. But the timing is the tricky thing here. If it happened, the layoffs, let's say a year ago, and now we are voting, many people by now would have forgotten about the layoffs. We would have moved on to something else, and then it would be easier to get that vote. But the timing right now, So generally AJ feels optimistic, but I don't feel as optimistic about this vote. So that's why I'm telling everyone, vote, because the end result could be decided by just a few votes. So even a few votes could actually make a huge difference in the final outcome. So vote if you haven't yet. Here's another thing to really think about. In 2018, I will say that only 73% of shareholders voted to approve Elon's compensation package. And think about it, there was zero risk to shareholders. If the stock does not go up tremendously, Elon would have been paid nothing, but that definitely added motivation for him to work harder and focus more on Tesla. And yet only 73% of the people voted? That's a low number, I would say. And now consider this. If you understand how stocks work, when you pay, for example, with stock options, it's not like you are selling your own stock to pay someone, but you are diluting your own share. So for example, if you have 100 shares in total in the company, and let's say you own 10 shares, but now we are creating 10 additional shares. So instead of 100 shares, there are now 110. It's basically the same thing as you losing some shares. That's how some institutional investors think, as well as some retail investors like Leo Cogman. So definitely we'll have less than 73% of people voting in favor of Elon, because here's how they think. They look at Tesla's market cap. Okay, it's over $500 billion. Tesla's compensation package for Elon Musk is about $50 billion using very rough numbers. Okay, so that's 10%. So if I own $10 million of Tesla stock, it's like me giving $1 million to Elon right now. You're going to have a dilutive effect. That's how some people think. But also consider what's going to happen if Elon does not get his compensation. I am pretty sure that Elon Musk has a plan for what he's going to do if he gets the compensation package approved, and what he's going to do if it doesn't get approved. With all of us retail shareholders holding 30% of Tesla shares for this vote to get Elon back his compensation plan, it is imperative to not only vote yourself, but to actively ask friends and family who have shares to go to votetesla.com as soon as possible to put their votes in. If you know any Tesla shareholders, call them, text them, email them. If you have a Twitter account, post on your social media. Encourage everyone to vote. Leo Cogman, who owns billions of dollars worth of Tesla stock, has now officially voted against reinstating Elon's compensation package, and he doesn't want the new board terms for Elon's brother, and another board member, and he's against Tesla incorporating in Texas. Jason says Leo might be just as dumb as fellow billionaire Mark Cuban. After all, Leo Cuban calls us all insects, then votes with his emotions. Well, to be fair, he called himself an insect too, so I don't consider this an insult. If you're a shareholder, you must know that a failure to ratify the plan is a huge threat to the valuation. Why would you ever vote against it? I don't know, says Jason, but maybe Fred and Leo can enlighten us. Suspiciously, not once have Fred or Leo spoken about the impact of a no vote on Tesla's valuation. I suspect they know it will go down and they will profit on a decline with options or something. They might be dumb, but they can't be that dumb. So what happens if Elon loses the shareholder vote and resigns? AJ doesn't believe Elon would resign. Tesla is his baby. He put 2 decades of his life into raising it. 2 very hard decades. In addition, the Tesla flywheel is close to solving autonomy. But it's not like he is abandoning the baby. It's more like the baby has grown up. It's been 2 decades. It's now a grown adult, and the baby is trying to get away from Elon. Elon can only do so much. But what if Elon left? Number one, I don't think Elon would slash and burn Tesla and take the entire Tesla AI team with him, many of whom have worked on Tesla's FSD for years and likely also want to see it to come to fruition. There isn't another FSD data engine elsewhere. People leaving would have to build it from scratch. They can't just leave Tesla and start off where they left off elsewhere. Elon has often emphasized how important autonomy is, not only economically, but for its potential to save lives. You really think Elon was so immoral and would slow autonomy just because he didn't get his compensation package? Elon frequently emphasized that he is not financially motivated. Why should he, with all the wealth that sits outside of Tesla, even SpaceX, Neuralink, Boring Company, etc. I think AJ is missing the point here. It's not about the money so much. It's about being treated unfairly, not just slightly unfairly. It's like, okay, you did the work for years and there was an agreement and now you are abandoning the agreement. You're clearly going from an ally to an enemy then. Do you think Elon is the type who holds grudges when something is unfair? I think he does hold grudges when someone takes advantage of him, and I think this would be taking advantage of Elon. Number 3, but he could solve autonomy at another company. No, nobody has the fleet data collection capability. It would take likely a minimum of 5 years to get where Tesla is now under the best of circumstances. This would mean a 5-year delay to the launch of true autonomy. Again, this would be immoral. He is not an immoral person. Number 4, Elon knows that him leaving would likely tank the Tesla share price, not only inflicting harm on Elon himself, but also inflict harm on all with whom he has worked for years and inflict harm on countless retail and other investors who stood with him. But also, Elon has said multiple times he doesn't care about the stock price and that he will say what he wants to say when it comes to political things. So I'm not sure I would actually count on this. Elon sold Tesla stock to buy X/Twitter. He knows that it is partially his own doing that his stake has been diminished. Elon's diminished stake is his main concern, not the diminished economics, but the diminished control he can exercise. I would expect the board to put another sort of incentive package for Elon Musk, not necessarily with any money being granted to Elon through Tesla stock options, but just voting rights, basically. Oh, Fred actually addressed what he thinks would happen if Elon doesn't get his compensation package. He says there's no strong evidence that would point towards Elon leaving Tesla or Tesla stock dropping a lot. He specifically references at least 50%. I'm not sure if Tesla stock would actually drop 50% immediately. That would be extremely unlikely, but over a longer period of time, I think it becomes perhaps a bit more likely. It would really depend on who would be the next CEO. I think Tesla would win the race to autonomy without Elon, and Elon basically said that himself. But beyond autonomy, Tesla's future would be uncertain at that point, I think, without Elon. And this is a really good point from Warren. If there's no evidence that stock would crash, why do investors often ask Tesla about key man risk? Anyway, there's definitely a feud going on right here. I think at best, Omar and Fred strongly dislike each other. There are a lot of posts I actually don't include when they argue between each other because it's just a bit too dramatic, but it is certainly entertaining. Warren is challenging Fred to do a space with him about what would happen if shareholders vote no. That would be quite an entertaining space. There is some reassurance here, though. Elon Musk says not a lot of truth in response to this post. They said Tesla is canceling the next generation vehicles. They lied. They said Elon is leaving Tesla. They lied. They said Giga Berlin is shutting down for good. They lied. They said Tesla is abandoning superchargers. They lied. Now they just said FSD take rate is only 2% since the free trials, and they lied again. Do you see what's going on? Now, I like that Elon replied to this post because it explicitly says they said Elon is leaving Tesla, and by Elon replying to this post, I think it shows that Elon is not thinking about leaving Tesla. And Elon reposted this, Giga Berlin setting records for sustainability. Giga Berlin leads in sustainability, recycling up to 100% of the factory process wastewater and using just 1.8 cubic meters per Model Y, far below the industry average of 3.7 cubic meters of water. Wow. Imagine how many stations would have been built if they just gave the whole budget to Tesla. Biden's $7.5 billion investment in EV charging has only produced 7 stations in 2 years. Elon just gave us updates about his Mars plans. Less than 5 years for uncrewed landing on Mars. Less than 10 to land people, maybe a city in 20 years, but for sure in 30 years. Civilization will be secured at that point. Well, this is pretty big news. We saw similar things happen to Cruise, which is GM's company, but now NHTSA probes Waymo after 22 reports of crashes or traffic violations. That's it for today's video. Make sure to click the like button so that we can make sure that there's no shadow ban on this channel. There's another video from my other channel showing that it's only getting about half of the views it would normally get because my videos are only shown to about 50% of the regular viewers in the first few days, and then after the first 3 days it does push it out a little bit more, but because it's no longer news, it's old, no one's interested. So I appreciate everyone clicking the like button. That really helps. And going forward, I'm only publishing the full daily news videos on this channel, not on the old channel anymore. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, otherwise YouTube may stop showing you these videos completely. Subscribing sends YouTube a strong signal that this is a channel you want to watch.